G'day, legends. Welcome to the Pot Noodle on Celtic Down Under. I'm your host, Jared, and joining me are Liam and Shane. How you going, Shane?
Not too bad, mate. A lot better than last week. Good to be back with you, gentlemen, and feeling well enough to pod again. I'm still a bit nasally, so apologies in advance to everybody listening in if it's very noticeable. But yeah, just great to be up and about and back on board podding with you, gentlemen.
Wouldn't have even noticed it if you hadn't pointed it out, mate. What are you doing?
I don't know what that says about my voice, but okay, no worries.
And how you going, Liam?
All right. Just to clarify right up, I haven't been punched in the face. All right. What happened was that I was doing a little 50-kilometer hike, and I discovered that apparently getting your lips sunburnt is a thing. So this is the aftermath.
I was going to say some sort of chlamydia ravaged drop bear got him, but a 50k hike will do instead. So there you go.
That's another type of burning lips, but that's a story for another day.
There we go. Put a set you up nicely there, Liam. Perfect. Off to a start here. G'day, McLaughlin in the comments. Smell the glove. G'day, dynamic dudes. That's an interesting one. Next thing I'm going to get a cowabunga or something in the comments there. Smell the glove to you, Shane. Man flu is a bugger.
It's a real thing.
And McLaughlin, the old Valley flick to Edo was just like the old Sutton Larson combos we used to see back in the day. Absolutely. And Robert Gibson saying he got snowburn once anything's possible. Windburn bad enough too. I remember that as a kid, Liam. I was go-karting in shorts one day, didn't realise, and the legs were cooked for the next 3 or 4 days. Good fun, mate. Yeah. So different ways to do it. So better you than me, mate. That's all I got to say. So we'll crack right into it. So Celtic 6, St Johnstone 0. The starting lineup, we got it right here on the screen. Schmeichel, Johnson, Trusty, Scales, and Taylor. Midfielder McGregor, Bernardo, and Engels, which I was glad to see that. And then Kun, Maeda, and Kyogo up front. Bench of Sinisalo, Ida, Valle, Yang, McGowan, Naroski, Hatate, Forrest, and Ralston. So looking at that lineup for me going into the game, as I said, I wanted to see what Bernardo and Engels look like playing together in the midfield for a fair chunk of time. Was impressed with that. The back line, Trusty and Scales, yeah, okay, CCV is not there. Looks like he's still injured. So we'll talk about how that's going to affect the Dortmund game later in the pod. And then up front, Kyogo, along with our wingers that are in amazing form. The two things that jump out to me looking at that, Liam, where's Palmer? Where's Welsh?
I think the reality is that when everyone else is fit, those two simply don't feature. They're just not. They're not at the level that we need, unfortunately.
Can I say something? And thank God for that.
Yeah, indeed. No, the thing with Palma is that our style of play, particularly at the weekend, if you watch how dynamic and how aggressive and fast we were, it's a complete opposite of it.
Took 4 minutes.
Well, whatever Palma's hobbies are none of my business. All right, I'm not going to comment on that. But
Robert Gibson in the comments, everyone, with his usual Palmer comment.
Look. Maybe the guy had his hand full at the weekend. I don't know, but God, I've lost my train of thought now. No, but look, we have better players for those positions, and when they are fit, they play. Simple as.
And Shane, what was your thoughts with the starting lineup?
Well, you touched on the key points for me. I was keen to see how Trusty went when partnered up with Scales as opposed to Welsh, and was also keen to see how Engels partnered up in midfield with Bernardo and Kalmak instead of Hatate being in that role. So it's a pretty strong lineup. I think it's a lineup, particularly the midfield three, that a lot of people have been calling for a couple of weeks now. So it was our chance to see how this would all work out, and not wanting to touch on the game very early, but I enjoyed it the same as you did, Jared. But with regards to Palmer and Welsh, I agree with the comments, though. I still like Palmer and think that he does have some sort of a future at the club still. I haven't jumped off just yet. The simple fact is they didn't perform last week, and when they were on the pitch, they weren't very good. And so I guess as part of anything, if you don't perform and then the next match rolls around and there's someone that can take your spot, well, you're vulnerable. So I think it's just the reality that they didn't perform when they got their opportunity. So they're out of the squad rotation for now.
As Smell the Glove says, Welsh, Palmer, Brendan finally realised. So that's all part of it. You got to take your chances. Now, I come with a prop after that comment about Palmer being a wanker. And the message here: be heroic in 4 minutes. It says right there on the bottom. I thought you'd like that one. We haven't got 4 minutes of good football out of Palmer this season.
4 minutes? Is he going to do it twice?
Oh, brilliant.
Anyway.
So, Liam, we'll go to you for just a general chat about the first half. There was quite a bit going on. Actually, before we go to you with it, I'm just going to rattle off something quickly off the old stats side of it. So, first half, we had Kyogo scored, Bernardo scored, Kyogo scored again. I think that was all in the first half, if my memory's right. So, it was 3 goals in each half. So, yeah, what was your thoughts on the first half?
Brilliant. Just exactly, St Johnstone haven't been great lately, and it should, on paper, be an easy one. But any away game always has me slightly uncomfortable, just because you don't have that massive Celtic Park crowd behind you. And we very quickly made it clear, like, nah, this is not going to be an issue. We're going to sweep this team aside, and that's exactly what we did. Yeah, great goals, well worked play. I still, for the life of me, can't figure out what was wrong with Maeda's goal. It looks as if 2 players banged into each other in the build-up, and that was enough to disallow the goal. Because what a goal it was as well. That's the frustrating thing about it.
On that, Liam,
but yeah,
quickly,
great performance.
Sorry. On that, I had a look at it on the train home from work today. I was trying to figure it out myself because I watched the game, can't remember much of it because I was a little sleepy. It was stupid o'clock. Rewatched the highlights and everything. I actually went back, rewind, trying to figure it out. The only thing I can think of is that they're saying that before Maeda makes his run to get the header, I think it was Kun. They're saying that there was the 2 guys having a bloody wrestle there, and that stopped the defender getting out to contest for the header. That's the only thing I could possibly find, but even that's clutching at straws.
No, it was the hip and shoulder. It was Trusty, basically. I can't remember who the St Johnstone player was running across the box when the ball came in. Trusty's coming to meet the ball, and then the St Johnstone player basically runs into him, and Trusty clatters him purely by the fact that he basically runs into Trusty's path and then stays down.
So it was further into the chaos that I didn't even see it. There you go. I saw it at the front near the post where the ball was coming in. I didn't even notice that in there. So there you go. And we got the comment here from Pegleg saying, could it be that Trusty raised his arm before the other guy ran into him? Who knows?
God forbid that you defend yourself when a guy's running at you, It
was a textbook. We had the AFL Grand Final on here over the weekend, and it was a textbook hip and shoulder. Absolutely got him a beaut. We'd be celebrating that in footy down here. So, but yeah, I think he may have raised his arm, but as Liam said, like, the guy literally cuts across his path as he's going to go and try and win the header, right? I think it's reasonable for him to actually continue along his trajectory. If anything, the St Johnstone player doesn't have any awareness that Trusty's coming there.
Yeah, I think Strangelove's figured it out. Pretty much.
I just saw that.
That's pretty much the summary. Like, I could not figure that out for the life of me either. But yeah, Liam, I'll jump back to you for the rest of your first half rundown.
No, I mean, that's pretty much it. We were just totally dominant, and I'm glad that in the second half we didn't ease off, because it didn't turn out that way. But there was every chance that the game on Sunday that Rangers could have rattled in a few past Hibs, because they've been pretty mince recently. But it meant that it didn't matter. even if even if they had scored 3 or 4, they would still have been well behind us in goal difference because of that performance. So that was it's good that we're keeping that ruthlessness, and also it's just good to tune up our striking options ahead of the European game, obviously.
And Shane, you got anything to add?
I just want to add that I thought we were exceptional in the first half. I really, and I seem to be saying this every week I'm on, but I'm really enjoying sitting down and watching us play. It's a joy to actually watch us play football at the moment. And the first half was no exception. In fact, I'd go as far to say that the first half's probably our best first half of football since Brendan returned as manager. I thought we were fantastic from the first whistle. We were on, we were pressing, we were probing. We were getting in behind. We were targeting areas of weakness. Everything seemed to be coming down their left. We were overworking their left back. AJ and Kun were just having a field day and linking up so well. Everything worked. The midfield three, they hummed. Our wingers and Kyogo looked dangerous. And we never let up. And we won't talk about the second half just yet, but even in that first half, there didn't seem like a moment where we even took stock and put our foot on the ball for a little bit. We were continually pressing and had them under pressure and turning around all the time. And, even just the ability to transition from defense to attack. There was that one moment after, I think it was when we'd gone 2-0 up, but it might have been the third goal, where they actually did press. And we broke through the press and instantly we went up and scored. We just looked so dangerous. It could have easily been 4 or 5 at halftime and really enjoyable to sit down and watch.
It's funny you say that, Shane, that it's enjoyable to watch because usually you can be getting all the wins, you can be winning, but it's not pretty like last season. And then you get this season where we're just absolutely just piling on the misery to clubs. We're putting 5 past teams in Europe. We're putting 6 past teams domestically. We're just piling in the goals, and it's not just we've got better players and you're doing it with better, like just headers or set plays or whatever. We're doing it in a really exciting way to play. Like you watch the style of play along with what we're actually doing, and it's great to see how far we've developed as a squad. And it's not just one player; it's 5 different goal scorers in the 6 goals on the weekend. And then the players are enjoying it. Like you have a look at them, someone scores, doesn't matter who it is, and everyone's getting around each other, giving them 5. Everyone's like loving it. It's just great to see.
But even just on that, it's also the variety of when we actually go forward as well. I mean, you look at the goals we scored, they're all different. They all had different creative elements to them. They were different finishes. They weren't all the same thing. Our build-up play, we're trying things like short corners, reverse passes. It's the variety and the gelling of that midfield and front three. They know where they are. They know where to move. There was one moment in the first half, we didn't score from it, but both Engels and Bernardo had sort of drifted into the box out towards the right-hand side. And initially I thought Engels was calling from the ball, but when I re-looked at it, he was basically telling, I can't remember who had the ball, to basically tell them to play it over the top because Bernardo was in behind him. That's that synergy and that cohesiveness you'd love to see with a team. And that's coming from Engels, who's literally just, in comparison to the other players, has only just sort of made his way into the team, right? And yet he's still able to have that awareness of what's going on. I think what this squad's been able to develop in terms of their connectiveness is unbelievable, and the results are on the pitch.
Talking of that connectiveness as well, Maeda, and I'm going to jump ahead to the second half a little bit, but Maeda scored, Shane. If he didn't get his head on that, who was right behind it ready to bang it in with his head? Ida was right there as well.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all happening. It's like whether you go on the overlap down the wing, you got someone coming inside, you're playing the ball over the top for Kyogo to run onto, whether it's the little triangles, the quick 1-2s, you lay it back to Kelmack to put a rocket through it, McGowan even to put the foot through the ball and hit the post later on. It's happening in a variety of ways, and it is so dangerous. And Heavy Vibes has got my sort of silly comment here. Could we hit 10 goals or more in a game this season?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What team would it be, though, boys? Let's be stupid about it now. Could we get 10 goals in a game or more? Who would that be against? Shane, do you want to throw one out there?
I'd probably say either Hibs or Ross County at this stage. I'll go Hibs.
Liam?
Yeah, I would agree with that. But what I would say is I don't quite think we'll get the 10, but I think in terms of playing against the Tribute Act, I think the 7-1 could be in jeopardy this season. I really could see us putting more than 7 past that mob at some point. They looked absolutely rank rotten yesterday.
The 10's going to come against them, honestly, because we'll play on a Tuesday in the Champions League. They'll play on a Thursday in the Europa League. Then they'll come back and we'll play them, and they'll be blowing up Deluxe saying, why are you playing? Why do we get such a less amount of time? And then we'll just absolutely smack goals past them just for shits and giggles. It's going to be the best.
I mean, it's not even October yet, and we've already reduced their manager to doing the can at press conferences.
I have a question. Who would you rather, him or Pedro, standing in a garden talking about caravans? What's more embarrassing?
Do you know, I will say one thing, though. I was really surprised by his comments at that press conference. The implication that, you can't move your leg up without moving your hand up as well. If anybody should know how to goose step properly, it's the Rangers manager.
Yeah, I was actually just looking for something to put in there. It was the one. Here we go. I was going to bring a picture up for you. It wasn't that about your goose step, Liam, but it's close enough. It was this meme here. It's impossible to raise your leg with your arms by your side. That was my favourite one. But yeah, so yeah, overall, I thought first half was pretty impressive. The style of play and everything. It's just great to see. Shane, do you want to talk us through the goals?
Yeah, well, we'll start with the first goal. So it's good to see Kyogo getting back on the scorer sheet as well. Scales wins the header, which is really important. It's a strong header, knocks it forward. Kyogo's already on the move. It breaks away from him and then falls to Kun. And I just love the awareness of Kun to react. And he doesn't even try and take a touch. He doesn't even try and get his foot around it. He just knows that he can nod it forward and Kyogo's out in space. And it's as good a header in terms of a flick on that you could get. And all Kyogo has to do is just take control and finish. And he does. And it's just bread and butter for him. And the whole thing around that goal to me was just Kun's awareness, the ability for him to go, right, he's on. I've just got to win the header. And that's all. It was fantastic and a well-deserved 1-0 lead. Because at that point, we could have had a couple. And, yeah, it was good to actually get that one. And then the floodgates opened.
And Liam, what do you think of the goals? You want to grab the next one?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to kind of single in on a particular goal because the team just looked so fluid. There was so much movement, so much creativity, and it just kind of last season we kept saying when this team comes together, we're going to absolutely batter somebody, and it's happened 2 games in a row now. It's just when this team clicks, we're just completely on a different level to anything in Scotland. And I really am interested to see what's going to happen during the week because I think what's going to happen when this irresistible force meets an immovable object.
Well, yeah, we'll definitely be getting into that later on because I've got a few questions for you about what we expect to happen. I actually wrote some stuff down. Not going to wing it. So here we go. Yeah, so overall, the goals in the first half, they're all a bit different, but it was just, as you're saying, it was just impressive football. Don't really see one goal above the others. There wasn't really a standout one other than Maeder's one that was chalked off. That would have been the goal of the half if that was the case, but we could have been 5-6-0 up at halftime easily. And that's not playing things down. We were that dominant that we could have been, the final score could have been at halftime. And then we could have done the same again in the second half. So when people are talking about, oh, we could score 10, well, yeah, smell the gloves saying here, if we didn't have Dortmund, we'd have gone for 10 on Saturday there.
Yeah, quite possibly.
So the opportunities for us are, we're just clicking in all gears and it's just firing on all cylinders and we're just absolutely just tearing teams to shreds and it is magic.
They were 3 quality goals, really. Like the Kyogo strike's wonderful. The Bernardo strike Kyogo cushions it down for him. He's able to take a touch, the poise to take a touch and then finish. And then the third one for me was probably the pick of the bunch, the build-up play, the shifting it from right to left, and then Taylor putting in just that little cross into the box, that little diagonal, and Kyogo gets his head on it. I thought that whole build-up for the third goal, if I had to pick of the three, the one that I liked the most, that was the one. I just enjoyed that whole build-up play.
That was the one where Taylor headed it forward, wasn't it?
Was it? I thought he actually whipped it in, but I must be getting confused.
Yeah, I thought he ran through and just headed it on just over the top. Smother got some 4 quality first half goals. Yeah, but anyway, we'll get into the second half talk here. So, Liam, you want to go to general chat about the second half?
Well, I'll preface it by saying that it was about 4 o'clock in the morning here, and I was doped up on various painkillers on account of my face. So yeah, those pink dragons had some performance. It was just more of the same, really, wasn't it? It was just a great all round show. And like I say, the most important thing was the momentum did not drop. I remember during Rodgers' first time, there was a game against the Huns where we were, I think, 3 or 4-0 up at half time. But I think we only scored one more goal in the second half because Rodgers kind of made us play a bit more withdrawn because the game was won. Whereas now he's like, I will not make that same mistake again. And I think that's good to see. It's just that ruthlessness.
It's like a game of Mortal Kombat, Liam.
Aye, finish him.
That's what it's like our first time around. We get 3 or 4 up. Okay, let's just control the game because we're an older team then. Let's be honest. And now you look at it, we've got the younger legs, so it's like get out there and just keep attacking. And you can make 5 subs now instead of 3 like it was back then as well. So you can get more fresh bodies in. So let's just put the foot down and just go for it. And I wish we were able to name the podcast, rename it on the fly because I'd change it to Pink Dragons. RL77 was saying that finding new ways to break down pack defenses, that's something that we're doing.
Yeah. Just to clarify, RL77 asked a minute ago about my face. I'll just reiterate, it was sunburn owing to a 50-kilometer hike, okay? I've not been punched in the face. I've not been to a party at Puff Daddy's house, all right? It's just,
That's what you say, mate. Behind the paywalls, the videos, mate. We know what's really going on. So we've got a question here from Big Rab, which is, what do you guys make of McCowan? He's starting to make £1 million look like a steal. He's a player and a half. He's clearly in Kelmac style. Need to get him more games. For me, I look at it and go, I said at the start of the season that I thought Home would be the understudy to Kelmac, and I'd like to see him get a bit of a run of games. McGowan's taken the mantle in that spot already. Like we've got 4 European level midfielders that could start the game. When you rotate Kelmac, Atade, Engels, Bernardo, then there's not much of a drop off to McGowan now. So yeah, really good. Liam, what do you think?
It's about raising that overall squad quality, like you say, and like previously when our first pick midfielders haven't been fit, there's been that drop off in quality. Whereas now, McCowan can clearly do it at Scottish level, and maybe in the fullness of time we'll see that he can do it at European level as well. Hopefully.
Shane, what are you thinking?
Yeah, very shrewd signing at the time, and turning out to be a very very good bit of business. Impressive again on the weekend when he got his opportunity. When they made the subs, he was actually playing as the 8, and they moved Bernardo back to play in that more Kelmac role and that more withdrawn midfield role. And he contributed, and he just looked good on the ball, and he's definitely taken that spot for Home. And I was like yourself, Jared. I had Home in that spot, getting that opportunity, particularly after preseason. I was really bullish about his opportunities for the upcoming season, and he's well and truly taken that spot now. And I have no qualms if he was to come on, and even in a few weeks' time, if they want to start him in a couple of premiership games. no qualms whatsoever. He definitely looks the part.
The thing is, Andrew Galea is saying here, Bernardo took Kelmack's position when he went off.
Yep.
And then McCowan went to the 8. And then Smell the Glove saying McCowan actually plays more forward on the shots and goals in him. So what I'm going to say about McCowan and his game, right? He's a less shit version of the role that not Odds and Ed Blood, what was his name? Olivia and Cham used to play for us the first time around for Rogers. Does that make sense? Like, he used to come off the bench, but McGowan's actually making an impact when he comes on. Half the time, and Cham would come on and be like, can't be bothered. But then you get him in Europe and he'd be up and about for games. So I'm seeing it. That's the way I'm looking at it anyway. Bit of a weird one. Off we go.
And he almost finished with an assist, Luke McCowan, almost. But that was taken away by a pretty amazing piece of football.
Yep. So, second half goals, boys. We'll go to you, Shane. Give us your rundown on them.
Okay, so the Calmac one's the one that kicks us off. I want to start off by saying that at no point in the second half did we ever drop off from what we performed and how we performed in the first half. We never let up once. We continued on, and it was really great to see. But the Calmac goal, I'm pretty sure from memory, it was a corner, and it was a short corner routine, and Calmac sitting at the edge of the box. It's pretty slack marking, in all honesty. You think of all the players that you probably want to have a good awareness of, who's at the top of the box who might get a shot off. Calmac should probably be at the top of your scout to make sure you've got bodies in front of him, or at least getting to close him down pretty quickly, because he's had a couple this season already. And they don't, and he's able to get his shot away pretty comfortably. It's low. It's obviously in the bottom right-hand corner, but the keeper doesn't see it late because of all the bodies in front of him. So it's a really good finish, and credit to I can't remember who it was that played it to him, but realising that he was open and to get it to him quickly. And
I can answer that for you, Shane. It was Engels passing it to Kuhn, passing it to Calmac, puts it in at the near post, and the goalkeeper's response, looking around like, how'd that get there? Where's the defenders at the near post? And he straight away balls in. Huh? Where?
I mean, at that point, they'd been run ragged. They were all at 6s and 7s. They didn't know if they were coming or going. We'd completely played them off the park to the point where they were second-guessing everything they did. So it's not surprising. But it speaks to the variety of or to the comment earlier about the variety with what we're trying to do. So that's a short corner. It's effective, right? Instead of actually putting the ball in. But there are a couple of times when we take the corner and we put dangerous balls into the box. And that ability to have different angles and create different opportunities, I'm really enjoying that variety. So, good finish. And it's another one to add to the Calmac highlight reel.
Liam, what do you think of the rest of the goals?
Yeah, like Shane said, it was just non-stop, constant. I mean, that goal at the end was just a thing of absolute beauty. It was reminiscent of the sort of things you would see, back when we had players like Maravchik, Larson, and Sutton playing for us. That was the level of skill, unpredictability, and technical ability in that goal. It was absolutely amazing.
Yep. Some absolute class technique too. Like, you can talk about the players and who it is and all that sort of stuff. There's a comment here saying 6 goal was a 5-a-side special from 3 subs. Yes, 100%. Just the technique. Like, a player that I wanted to do, so I'm going to use this as a transition straight into our player focus. The player that I put my note down for was Valle. I wanted to talk about him because last time out, when he's playing as Falkirk, people were giving him shit online, giving him a hard time. And I said after that game, wait till he's got better players around him when he's playing with our starters. And for me, we've got someone here who is going to challenge Greg Taylor for his spot. We've got someone here doing a little back heel like that. Barcelona's going to want to recall him soon. We've got a player that's better than Bernabé, definitely. And he's available because he has a £3 million release clause in his contract that if we wanted to, we could activate that tomorrow when he's our player. So realistically, I liked what I saw from him. I want to see more of him playing. and I think we will over the season. It's a squad game. Kelmack's going to get rotated in and out. Taylor plays a lot of football. He'll get rest here and there. You got to back up there to actually do the job. So I thought Valle looked good. And the other one I wanted to touch on was Trusty. He's playing out of position. He's a natural left-footed, left-sided centre-back, playing at right centre-back. But playing him alongside Scales as the more senior of the two centre-backs in our team, he's looked pretty good. He's getting up there, he's throwing his body around, clattering people. Wasn't afraid to, go forward and think he was a striker for a couple of minutes there. It was hilarious to watch. But no, I was pretty happy seeing those two new boys starting to settle into the squad a bit too. But any particular players you want to touch on, Shane?
Yeah, I want to touch on Greg Taylor. First half, and I just want to sort of comment more generally. I thought first half he was great. Again, I think he's had a really good season so far. And, I want to comment on just how important he's become under this Rodgers team this season. We've talked ad nauseum on the pod for quite a while about how we needed another left back, that Taylor wasn't up to it. I think we all kind of had concerns about him coming into the season as our starting left back still, but he's been fantastic this season. He's been consistent. He's been getting involved. His build-up play is fantastic. I love the way he's obviously got license to come back into the midfield again. He obviously gets an assist in the weekend, and Rodgers gives him a rest, knowing that we've got the trip to Dortmund coming up. He wants him ready to go, so he gets a break, and we've obviously got Via who can back him up. But thinking back to when Ange first came in, and we had similar concerns about the left-back position, and Taylor stepped up and became arguably our player of the season, even though he didn't win it. His form, in my opinion, this season under Rodgers is on par with that renaissance. And all credit to him. I don't think anyone saw it coming, really. I think we all held concerns. And he's proved us wrong, and I'll put my hand up straight away. He's proved me wrong, and he's contributing significantly week in, week out, and it's great to see. But the other one I want to really quickly touch on was Dyson Maeda, and I won't go into detail about his game or his goal or the goal that was, let's be honest, wrongly chalked off. I want to highlight the moment at the end of the match. This was just before the match finished, and I think we're just into stoppage time. And St Johnstone, it's 6-0. St Johnstone have a break. They're running forward, and Maeda tracks back, busting a gut, and wins the ball back before they can even create anything. We're talking, I'm pretty sure it was the first minute of stoppage time. We're 6-0 up. That just typified where this team's at and the way that they're playing the game at the moment, and the way that they're actually, I guess, wanting to finish the game. I thought it was a tremendous thing to highlight, and all credit to him. We know that he does it all the time, but to do it at that point in the game when it was well and truly wrapped up, he didn't need to do it, but he wanted to do it, and it was really important. So hats off to you, Dyson. Quite literally, hats off to you.
Oh, hat hair. It's definitely about keeping up standards. That's the thing for him. He's a proud competitor, and it's clearly those are the standards that he wants to play at, and he'll do it whether it's the first minute or the last minute of the game. So there was a story on somewhere during the week that I've seen where they're saying if Celtic wants to win the Champions League, they need 11 Dyson Maedas. Nah, maybe just 3 or 4, plus all our other current players. Honestly. Because, he's got the lung capacity of 7 players already on his own, so there you go. Liam, you're the one who told us about how great Dyson was going to be for us all those years ago. So I'll let you have the final talk about any particular players, plus have your Dyson love fest if you want to.
Yes, apologies, guys. I'm wedged under my desk here. Hold on. No.
The audio, I waved the Pot Noodle across the screen again. So they understand.
No, listen, it's really good. Taylor has once again shown that example of how when you sign an upgrade potentially, it makes the player who's there even better, because Taylor has, for me, stepped up another level again. As Shane said, he was already one of our best players last season, and he's kicked it up another level again on accounts of value coming in. So yeah, and Dyson is just Dyson. What can I say? He is just absolutely unplayable when he's like that. And that 90th minute tracking back. I mean, put it this way. Dyson was the star player of a very, very poor Yamaga team when I saw him in Japan, right? Matsumoto was the team I saw him play for. They are now in the 3rd division in Japan. They have been Dyson left, and it was like relegation, and they've never come back. So, yeah, the guy literally carried an entire team here for 9 months. That was how good he was, even then.
Yep, fair enough. No, he's a quality player. Gonna bring up some comments here. So, Heavy Vibes said, I love the Tommy Burns and Ange teams, but this Rogers team is at another level. And RL77 responded to that saying, Rogers' team has the attacking flair of Ange and Tommy's teams, but has more control of the game. It's looking good for Europe. Strangelove responded saying, Brennan has spent a lot more money on players than both Ange and Tommy Burns combined, so it's not a surprise the team looks amazing. And then Strangelove also followed up saying, not to mention that high-intensity football was drilled into the side by Big Ange, so Brendan inherited a lot from that. I think it's a combination of things with how we're playing. McLaughlin saying, Maida must be attracting admirers. 20 million, I'd say. Liam, you admire him, mate. It's called a man crush. Yeah, so all things considered, I think we're going well here. Now, one thing I did want to talk. Normally, I say controversial moments, and we'll talk about VAR. So we've spoken about the shit end of the stick with VAR for that first goal being chalked off when we couldn't figure out what the foul and the lead up was, right? But I did love that at the end they went to VAR because the lino put his flag up for offside and he was onside, and it was great to see VAR being used for a clear and obvious error and actually giving us our last goal of the game. So yeah, it was really good to see, like, in a way that it actually worked properly.
Well, even the was it the third goal, I think, as well, or maybe the third goal where they had to check. Kyogo looked off, but then when you actually look at the frame, you could see the St Johnstone defender's foot's basically playing him on, and that one wasn't chalked off, but they checked it and obviously ruled it was okay. But agree wholeheartedly on the last comment. It would have been a genuine travesty if that via assist Eater goal had been chalked off. Even if he was a fraction offside, that was a wonderful bit of play, and it would have been horrible if that didn't stand.
Yep. And RL77 saying, nightmare for defences if switching from Taylor doing his inverted midfield thing, then via more athletic and overlapping. Yeah, running teams ragged, you can play what you want. So, yeah, it's going to be, I think we've got one last thing to talk about on this game, and then we'll move along. So, Liam, who was your man of the match?
Do you know, I'm going to say Bernardo. I thought he had a really good game. Didn't put a foot wrong, didn't waste a pass, has given Brendan a really difficult choice to make ahead of the game on Tuesday. Is it him or is it Hatate? Because at the moment, there really isn't much to pick between the two of them.
Yeah, well, we'll be discussing that in depth in about 5 minutes, Liam. 5-10 minutes. So there you go. We'll get your thoughts on that then. This is the thing with the man of the match. You could pretty much ask 6 different people who was man of the match, and you'd get completely different players on all of them. That's how well it was. Smell the Gloves saying Dazen is his man of the match. Shane, who was your man of the match?
Yeah, genuinely. The whole team played well. There were probably 3 particular standouts. So, Bernardo and Kun definitely up there for me, but I'm going Kyogo. His 2 goals were wonderful. He lays off the assist for the Bernardo goal. He just looked completely dangerous every time the ball went into the box, and I loved having that ruthlessness of Kyogo back again. So I'm going with Kyogo, with Bernardo and Kun close second and third.
So for me, just trying to see if I can find the stats that I took a screenshot of. I've deleted it. Genius. So, Robert Gibson, you've just done it for me. Just for wanting to stay awake. I was going to just have a laugh there and go, yeah, McLaughlin saying Kun, 3 assists, hard to dismiss. So that's what I mean. You have so many different ones. Casper for his save at the end. Yeah, pretty much. All Casper had done was he'd sat there all game, probably did some knitting, baked a pie, ate a foot-long sub because he was just there, had a kebab in the second half, whatever. Oh, better do a save here. Done, left-hand save. Okay. Now where's my paycheck? But my actual man of the match is real simple. Whoever the lunch lady is or the head chef at Celtic Park in getting the food organised for our players to give them the energy levels to play that type of football 2 or 3 times a week, you're my man of the match. Because backroom staff on that, the recovery happening from our sports science team, keep our squad fit, fresh and energised, especially so that guys like Maida can run like that. Man of the match can go to that person because I can't pick an individual player, so I've got to go something stupid. You go, Shane, it was me, not you.
Welcome.
So, starting tomorrow, Celtic Down Under podcast team, or some of us, are doing the Black Dog Institute's 1 Foot Forward fundraiser for mental health. So, me, Shane, and Liam are all taking part in it. I'm aiming to walk 150 Ks for the month of October and try and raise some cash for the Black Dog Institute. Liam, you're doing, what, 500K, did you say?
Yeah, did 300 last year, going to go for 500 this year.
And Shane, what are you going for?
Yeah, I'm doing 150K like yourself. Did 100K last year, got above that. So really trying to challenge myself and my little legs this year. Yeah,
so as everyone knows, this is the one big fundraiser we do on this podcast every year. It's for a great thing for mental health in Australia. So yeah, if there's anything that you can donate, throughout the month of October, our social medias will have all the links and all that for that. So yeah, just wanted to let you guys know, and we'll hold ourselves to account as well on the podcast by talking about it every pod, just to let you know how we're going. So on Thursday, I'm hoping I have done, at least 10K by then. I might be on track if I do that, 10, 15K. But anyway,
just for context, in case anybody thinks I'm bullshitting, I have to walk an average of about 10K a day going to and from work anyway. So that's hence why I've set myself such a high target. Right, I'm not sitting here reprogramming the Fitbit. Okay, just so anybody's wondering.
Fair enough. So the next thing I wanted to talk about quickly: how great is Celtic having our women make the Champions League group stages, and then to get this group? Oh, it's going to be a bit of a challenge for them, but Chelsea, Real Madrid, and FC Twente. So, Shane, you tend to be the one more switched on to the women's football everywhere. What's your thoughts on that?
Oh, I think it's really exciting for them. They've been building, and it's great to see them actually get into the UCL. As you said, it's a tough draw. Those are 3 pretty quality teams, Chelsea and Real Madrid in particular. And there's a little bit of an Australian connection there, of course, with Sam Kerr at Chelsea.
She's not playing, is she? Because she's done her knee.
Yeah, I don't think she'll be back. So unfortunately, we're going to miss out on seeing Sam take on Celtic. Somewhat of a pity, but
still at Real Madrid or not?
No, she is at Tottenham now. So she recently left and she signed with Spurs. So look, I think it's a tough group. It'll be interesting to see how they go, and they come up against some pretty stiff European opposition. But I'm really excited for to see how they come up against them. So here's hoping they can jag a pretty amazing result or two. But credit to them for getting this far.
Come on, Liam, over to you for your thoughts.
Yeah, great result. Whatever happens next, getting there is an incredible achievement when you look at the funding level of the women's game in Scotland compared to all these other countries in that league. We've only had a professional league. So we've only had a professional Celtic team for 4 or 5 years.
This is the
4th
year.
The league is mostly still semi-pro, and yet here we are in the elite of Europe already. So that even if we get scalped in every game, we've already achieved far more than most people think a team of Celtic's level should have at the moment. So well done, girls. And who knows, they might spring a wee surprise on us.
All I'm going to say is that's the third highest wage bill in Scotland too for our team, and they're in the group stages. RL77, where do they play the Champions League games? I think they're playing them in Hamilton, if my memory is right. From what I saw, they're not playing them down in Airdrie.
God, Champions League theme in Hamilton, that's something you don't hear very often.
Oh, they go Clyde Stadium is what Strange was saying. I knew they moved. They were in Airdrie, but yeah, I knew they moved. I thought it was, last I heard it was Hamilton, but there we go. Get up there and watch
Fun
it if
fact,
you
I used to play five-a-sides every week behind Clyde Stadium.
Hey, everyone, can you tell us what if there's one thing that you've taken from this podcast today, it's that Liam used to play five-a-sides behind Cumbernauld Stadium. So that's my thing. The one thing I've learnt for the whole day is that. There it is.
Yep. And I tell you another thing, my high school was only 5 minutes walk away from the stadium as well. So there you go.
And while you're at it, Liam loves a pot noodle.
Yay.
Yeah, so
other forms of self-abuse and noodle snacks are available. Yes.
All right. So Celtic versus Borussia Dortmund, Tuesday night, 5 a.m. Wednesday morning for us over here in the Champions League. So it's going to be an early morning. Are you fearful going into the game, Shane? Because Heavy Vibes are saying this is the first time I'm not fearing a Euro away game in ages. So what are you thinking?
Not fearful. I'm definitely not fearful. And the way that we are playing at the moment and the way we've played all season is exactly why I'm not fearful and why no Celtic supporter, in my opinion, should be fearful of this tie. But I think we need to be realistic as well and know that this is going to be a significant step up compared to any other team that we've played so far. I'm not saying we can't jag a result or anything like that, but it's going to be on a different level. And it's going to be a little bit of a litmus test, to be honest. And that's actually more exciting than anything else. We're going to get a real idea of, I think, how far this team can progress in Europe on the basis of how they perform against Dortmund. So I definitely don't be fearful of it. If anything, be more excited about it and what we're about to see.
The thing is, this is the team that lost the Champions League final last year. So they're no diddy team. But so I'm not worried about it. But what I'll do is I'll read through. Willie does his usual spiels on the Champions League games on Twitter and shares it around. So I'll run through Willie's bit of analysis, and then Liam will get your thoughts off the back of that. So Willie's take on Borussia Dortmund is that you can expect a high-intensity, high-pressing football that they are famous for. Dortmund typically set up in a 4-2-3-1 formation. They're known for their high-intensity, high-octane approach. Chan and Gross are the double pivot that does all the hard yards in the middle, allowing for the front four to press high. Dortmund presses high at the pitch with focus on winning the ball back quickly. Direct passes to progress up the pitch, using the fullbacks and wingers to provide width and stretch opponents, creating space for the central overload. Counter pressing. After losing possession, Dortmund immediately press the opposition as high as up the pitch as possible to prevent counter-attacks. Their high defensive line means that they can close down opponents rapidly and try to force a possession turnover. Strengths is their players interchange positions, creating confusion. The wingers and fullbacks attacking high and wide. They just float around. Weaknesses, he's written, if any, high defensive lines can be caught out on a quick counter, which makes sense when you look at what we do. Strangelove in the comments is saying that Dortmund are now playing a 3-4-2. I knew they changed things up because of how bad they've been recently. Willie's verdict is a very tough test for Celtic and an opposition which must be switched on to at all times. This team may have lost a few players from last season's final, but they are still absolutely stacked from front to back and be a tall order for the boys to even get a point. Willie's thing is the best we can hope for is a draw, but we're playing with confidence. I don't think the best we can hope for is a draw. I think the expectation should be we go there and, if we get a draw, we'll live with it. But I think we can get at them. That's just my feel. Liam, what's your thoughts on that running into it? Because for me, Dortmund have been banging in the goals recently. They also have been leaking goals recently. So your general thoughts heading into the game, and are you expecting it to be a high-scoring match? Smell the glove saying 4-4 for Murdo McLeod. So what are you thinking, Liam?
I'm thinking that this game is basically a free hit because with the extended format now, if we're going to get through to the later stages, we need to beat teams like Bratislava. We need to beat teams like Zagreb. We need to beat teams like Boys, right? With the greatest of respect, that's the sort of teams we need to beat, right? Looking at games against teams like Dortmund, Aston Villa, whatever, those are the games where just go out there and play and see what happens. I believe we can win the game. If I was going to have a bet, I probably wouldn't bet on us winning, but I think it is possible. I think a draw is definitely possible. And I certainly don't think we're going to get swept aside like we have in previous seasons against the likes of Barcelona or Real Madrid, although Dortmund are at that level. They are at that same level, elite of European football, but I think we are far better prepared now than we were then. This team now, now that everything's kind of starting to click, and we've got, Rodgers has been out and got some players that he genuinely went out and sourced himself, right? There's a maturity about this team that we didn't have in previous seasons. In Europe, we've have at times been really good, but we've been very naive. And I don't think we're going to have that same level of naivety going into this game. We showed what we did to Bratislava that we mean business. Dortmund will also be looking to show that they mean business because they've not had a great start domestically. You can look at that two ways. You could say, well, that means they can be got at, and I agree with that. But there's also a thing of they might be angry and looking to come out and prove a point against somebody. So we have to be ready for that as well. But no, I don't see this team as invincible at all. I see them as a team that we can take something from. You know what? I'm going to stick my neck out and say a 2-each draw. There you go.
Yeah, they're actually 5th in Germany at the moment. So you're Bayern on top, Eintracht Frankfurt, RB Leipzig, Leverkusen, and then them. So they're not that going too bad. They're only 3 points off top spot. So you think they've been leaking a lot of goals, but they're still pretty high up there. So yeah, I just think we're like as I said, we can get at them. They do leak goals, they score goals. It's going to be one of those. Remember you'd watch Champions League back in the day, and it'd be like when you had like Beckham and Roberto Carlos and Zidane and all those guys at Real Madrid, and you'd be like, they're not going to shut teams down and keep clean sheets, but they're going to win 4-3. They're going to win 5-3. They're going to win 5-4. This is going to be one of those games because especially if CCV, which we'll mention a bit later on, but he's carrying an injury. If he plays, okay, what's he going to be like? If he doesn't play, we can be got at defensively. And it's a step up for Trusty and Scales regardless. But at the same time, they press high. They're able to be got at, and we can be pretty direct, and we've got some nice wingers who play a quick ball over the top. So, yeah, I think it'll be a high-scoring one as well. Shane, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think how we hold up defensively is pretty much going to determine if we get anything from this match day or not. It's quite clear, I think, exactly what you said, Jared. They're sort of in that mode of, you score 3, we'll score 4 kind of approach. And they're scoring pretty heavily. They put 4 past Bochum on the weekend. They put 3 past Bruges in match day 1 of the Champions League. And they scored 4 earlier in the Bundesliga as well. They are susceptible, it seems, to conceding. In fact, Bochum went 2-0 up before they pegged them back. So, and, on Willie's description, it does sound like the way that we're playing, we can get at them. And we should get at them. And I don't think we should curb the way that we would probably normally approach other fixtures like this. We should actually go out and try and play our way. We've shown all season that we do have quality on the park, and we should try and take it to them, as Liam says. I'm not as confident. I agree that I still think we should aim to get the win and accept a draw if it happens, but I don't probably share that confidence. I'm probably thinking a 3-2 loss, but I will preface that by saying that even if it's a 3-2 loss, it's still going to be an encouraging performance and one that we walk away from knowing that we belong at this level.
100%, Shane. That's how I'm thinking. Like, I hope we can win, but, you know, I think it's the one about not lowering our colours above all else. So, Liam, do you think that our players will be overawed at all by Dortmund's yellow wall? Or is playing at Paradise each week plenty of preparation for a crowd like this? Because Jeremy Frimpong has said that it won't be an issue for the Celtic players in this game based on his experience. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I would agree. I think that we've played in more intimidating arenas. I mean, the Dortmund yellow wall is spectacular, but it's a spectacle rather than something that would intimidate you. I think you'd be like, wow, look at that. You're not going to be like, oh no, you know.
Well,
Going to somewhere like Galatasaray is intimidating, right? Going to somewhere like Dortmund is impressive.
Well, the thing, like what Frimpong said, is that Celtic don't do that in a whole stadium. They do it in one section in the yellow wall. So that's it. But as you're saying, if you went to Galatasaray, if you went to like Red Star Belgrade, where they're lighting flares the whole stadium around, so it's like a massive ring of fire, and you're playing football in the middle of it, that's intimidating. Not this.
Yeah.
So, Shane, what's going to be the key areas for us to win the game?
Our back four, in my opinion. It's how we hold up defensively. It's quite clear that they score, and they score pretty heavily. And on past Champions League appearances, both last season and seasons gone by, you know, there are occasions where if we concede, we tend to concede pretty quickly again shortly afterwards. And so how we're able to manage their attacking threats like Adeyemi and Garasi will be really important. And I think CCV being available or not is crucial to our ability to get something from the game. But yeah, how our back four holds up is going to dictate whether we get something from this or not.
McLaughlin's got a good point here. A good chunk of this Celtic team is played at the Bernabeu, so it shouldn't be intimidating. Liam, what do you think is going to be the key area for us?
I think it's going to be the strikers, because as Shane and I both agree that there's going to be goals in this game. So it's going to be a case of who can score more. And it's interesting because Dortmund's play is based a lot on shutting down and pressing. But do they have a player who can press like Maeda? You know, I don't know if they do. And I think that might be a bit of a shock to them to come up against somebody with that much energy. I think Maeda could be the real pivotal figure for us here. And obviously, our I'm going blank here. Our new Angles, our new signing, he has played against Dortmund before, so he's going to know what they're about. He's going to know what that stadium's about, and that could maybe give us a wee edge as well. But yeah, as others have said, the Bernabeu is more intimidating. There are other stadiums, like you say, like Red Star, like Galatasaray, where you'd be actually scared to play there. Whereas I don't think Dortmund is like that. From what I hear, it's actually a really nice stadium, and the Celtic fans will get a great reception there because we've always had a good relationship with Dortmund. So I think just go and enjoy it and see what happens. But as I say, I think Maeda could be a very important figure for us getting into that game.
I want to ask Liam a question. You said that you know, do they have a player that presses like Dyson? I want to ask you, does any other team anywhere else in the world have a player that presses like Dyson?
No.
So I just while you were saying that, Liam, I was like, okay, I'm going to grab that question I was going to ask in 3 and bring it up here, because my very next question then I had in here was, will the work rate of Maeda and Kun be a major impact on this game? What do you think, Shane?
Yes.
Absolutely. And it's going to be really important. and they're going to need to track back. It's pure and simple. They're going to come at us, right? We're going to need to make sure that we're getting up and down the pitch as quickly and as effectively as possible. We can't have any ability to take our opportunities to leave anybody forward, really, because they'll expose us. So, they're going to be crucial.
The other thing for me with those two is, defensively they will, but the other thing is that they will be a good outball for us. Like if they're pressing us and you can get it to the guys wide, then they can push it up. And then, as Liam's talking about Maeda's work rate, also, do they come up against someone as quick at springing an offside trap or a high line as Kyogo does as well? Would they play against that every week? Probably not. So you put all that together, and it's going to come down to us taking our chances and using Maeda and Kun in particular to track back, but then also give us that outlet ball.
Yep.
So, Liam, will CCV start or will Trusty start? What's your gut feel on that? Do you think we've been resting Carter Vickers, or do you think he's actually injured?
I think he might actually be injured. If there's any question about his fitness, go with Trusty. I don't want us having to switch players 20 minutes into the game because somebody breaks down. Go with a formation that can stand up to the entire game rather than putting in somebody who is a better player but might not be 100% fit. I think the one thing with Dortmund is they're a very fit team, and we cannot have any player there who's less than 100% ready.
So then, Shane, how big of an impact will the possible loss of CCV be in this game?
Yeah, I think it'll be huge. He's our best centre-half, best defender. I could wax lyrical about that, but he's such a quality defender anywhere in the world. Any club in the world would want him and could use him. I think he's really important to actually stopping them and actually preventing them from being able to play the way they play. So I would disagree with Liam, and I would actually want Carter Vickers in because I think it's going to be a little bit of a step up for Trusty. Even though what I've seen so far I've really enjoyed, it's going to be a step up for him and Scales to be our centre-half pairing away at Dortmund. And even if he'd have to be very close to fit to jump in. If there's any potential risk that he wouldn't see at the 90, I don't think you can play him. So I'll agree with Liam on that point. That's far too risky. But even if he's slightly off, I would still want him and play him instead because he's adept at this level. And him and Scales have a good partnership at this level. And I'd want to lean on that as much as I could to get a result away to Dortmund. So I would actually try and put Carter Vickers in unless he was really underdone.
All right, Shane. So I'm going to just go on, just be an idiot here. So CCV doesn't play. Your two options. Yeah, either got to trust Trusty. Yes, that's the first idiot comment. Or you go with the other guy with the most Champions League experience out of our remaining centre-backs, and you put Stephen Welsh in. God forbid.
No, it's Trusty.
It has to be Trusty. Yeah,
trust the Trusty. Trust the process. Remember?
Yeah. So RJL 67 is saying CCV has been playing in pain for a while. Had to get an injection before the last Champions League game. They say it's his metatarsal that's given him bone. Yeah, he's getting some pain. So yeah, if he's in doubt, I wouldn't play him. Especially when you say this is one of those ones that's a free hit. So it'd be Trusty. So, Liam, I said we'd come back to it. Who will start in the midfield? Will it be Kalmack, Engels, and Bernardo like it was in the weekend, or Hatade start and who will drop out?
My camera appears to have frozen. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
We're not sure what you're looking at, though.
Yeah. Oh dear. Of all the positions to be frozen in, bloody hell. Right.
You look like you're looking at
what,
Pedro.
Shane, why don't you go first, and I'm going to you go first, and I'm going to go out and come in again to try and fix this. Okay.
All right. Say hi to Pedro. For What was the question? I've totally blanked. I'm so distracted by what happened with his camera.
So,
What was the
who
question?
will start in the midfield? Will it be Kelmac, Ingles, and Bernardo like it was on the weekend, or Hatate start and who will drop out? RL77 saying Bernardo 100%.
I'm a big fan of Hatate playing in midfield alongside Kelmac and Bernardo or Engels, but I really enjoyed the dynamic that we saw against St Johnstone, and in particular the poise and composure that both Bernardo and Engels have. You're going to need that. There's times where you need that creativeness and that willingness to bite off passes that nobody else can see, but you can see them, and that willingness to constantly push. But there's times where you need players who are going to get on the ball, have that perfect first touch, and be really composed with it. This is one of those times, and both Bernardo and Engels have shown enough for me to say that they can work well together in midfield. So for Dortmund, I'd be going Engels, Bernardo, and Kelmac in the midfield.
For me, I am in this one. I'm going to go on a bit of a weird one here. You've got a guy who goes away with Japan on international duty and can't get off the bench. You've got a guy making his Belgian debut, and you've got the Portuguese under-21 national captain. And then you got Kelmac. So they're your options, right? All four of them are international players. Kelmac starts regardless. Particularly for this matchup, I'd be having Bernardo alongside Engels for the size and the athleticism to match with them. I don't think those two would be overawed by it. Rio, I doubt, would be as well. But I've said it previously, and I just think it's a better matchup for us getting out there and being able to match their athleticism in the middle of the park. Happy Valley is saying I'd go with Bernardo for this game. RJL67, love Rio, but I think Paolo is way better ball winner and less stray passes. The other two aren't up for question, in my opinion. Let's hope it's Kelmac, Bernardo, and Engels. McLaughlin saying, normally I'd be saying change the system for a game like this, but we are functioning so well we can't change it. And then Heavy Vibes is saying, Hatate is great when he's on form, but when was the last time he was on form? And Stranger was saying Rare was great in the last Champions League game, which he was. That was his best game of the season, in my opinion. So it's a bit of a complicated one, really. So, yeah, Liam hasn't come back in yet. So what we'll do is we'll bring up some comments here and do that. So Smell the Glove saying same starting lineup for tomorrow night as we had in the St Johnstone game. Happy Values, if we can get a draw in Dortmund, it'd be a tremendous result.
Yep.
McLaughlin saying 4-3 to Celtic. Strange, the doctor saying something similar to what we said earlier on, Shane, which is regardless of the result, I just want our performance in football to maintain the high levels it has been since pre-season. And then Smell the Gloves starting lineup is Casper, AJ, Trusty, Scales, Taylor, Kelmac, Bernardo, Engels, Kun, Kyogo, and Maeda start. So pretty much that's the same as what we had on the weekend. So what's your starting lineup, Shane?
Yep. So Schmeichel in goals, Taylor, Scales, CCV, Johnston. Midfield of Kelmac, Bernardo, and Engels. And up top, we've got Maeda, Kyogo leading line, and Nicholas Kun. I think outside the midfield, I think the team pretty much picks itself.
Yep. I think the starting lineup, like what we've said, for me, same as what we had on the weekend. If CCV's not fit, then yeah, we start Trusty and we get on with it. We spent £6 million on the guy. He's looked decent in what we've seen so far. Let's get him out there, see what we've got under the bright lights. I think everything else picks itself. Rio off the bench will be good. You bring him on with his range of passing, say if they're pressing us and it's really aggressive and, you know, you got to be able to do all the work rate. That's what I'm saying, the big athletic bodies. And then late in the game, you want to try and hit someone with a long ball on the counter and open the game up. That's where I could see Rio doing more damage as an impact sub late in the game rather than starting for us in this exact matchup. Liam is back, apparently. So we'll see if he comes on with a George Bush mask on or something like that. There he is. He's back.
Hey, there's only one kind of Bush I like, and it's no George. Anyway.
Liam was saying before for you with the midfield,
Yeah.
Calmac, Engels, Bernardo like it was in the weekend, or does Hatade start and who drops out? What's your expected starting lineup?
If it was my choice, I would actually start Bernardo ahead of Hatate based on current form. But I think Brendan might start Hatate just because he's got more experience at that level. Oh dear. Oh dear. We've reached that part of the show, I see. Okay.
What, Shane? It's just the complete opposite of what we just said, right?
Yeah.
What I was saying, Liam, is for me, I'd start the big athletic guys like Bernardo and Engels, but then I think Hatade in this thing in particular is if you need to unlock a game for someone to come on impact sub last 15, 20 minutes, that's what I think this would be a perfect impact spot for Hatade in this matchup.
Actually, yeah. Now that you say that, when you think about it that way, yeah, I agree with you. Actually, yeah.
Like you match their size in the middle with the bigger bodies, and then you bring Rio on to just unlock something later on. But we'll see what Brendan does. He's on the big bucks. We're just over here talking absolute rubbish on the other side of the world. So, score prediction, boys. Shane, what are you thinking?
Look, I'm a little bit pessimistic. As I said, I think it'll be a great performance and one that shows that we belong at this level, but I'm just not sure we're up to the standard of Dortmund just yet. So I think Dortmund 3-2, and I'm going Kyogo and Bernardo to score.
Liam, what are you thinking?
2-2. Engels with a penalty and Kyogo.
Okay, just for fun, I'm saying we're winning 3-1. We're going to be up 2-1. They're going to be throwing bodies forward. Rare's going to come on impact sub, ping the ball over the top for Eder to score the third and, ice the game. We're winning. I'm saying this just to look like an absolute idiot. But if it's a draw, it is what it is. I'll be happy with that anyway. So, yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. We appreciate it as always. If you haven't done so, hit the like button on the video and on the podcast apps. Share it around. Tell a friend about the podcast. Help us hit that target of 4,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel this season. And yeah, appreciate each and every one of you. And hail, hail.
Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.